Hey guys, what's up? Actually, that's kind of funny that I say that. Because now that I think of it, I believe I start every single video by saying, hey guys. You'll see why that's funny here in a minute. First of all, let me just warn you up front. This is probably going to be a lot of cussing. I don't know. This is a very impromptu video. I kind of got frustrated, ticked off, maybe a little. I don't know the right feelings. But and this ain't even really I don't know, it ain't my normal video. I just want to vent about something, and it's along the lines of something I wanted to talk about for a while. That bugs me, but I wanted to make sure and do it in the right way, because I didn't want to seem like so many people. I'll try to explain this in a minute, but I got frustrated tonight, and I need to talk about it. So here it goes. It's like ripping off the Band-Aid, and maybe this will open up for some better discussions in the future about some of these things. But I'm so frustrated, and understand immediately. I have tried my best. I try to be a good person, the best I can. I've been open about what an asshole I've been in the past. The fact that, I was a bigot in the past, and that haunts me, and I hate that. And so that's why I have this really genuine, like, just disdain for the far right and some of their just their bigoted ways, and some of the talk you hear, and all of that is so frustrating. And I know a lot of times they point at people on the left, the far left, and it's not everybody, at how they're so easily offended at everything. Now here's the thing. They're kind of right. I don't think it's a majority. It is a few, and those are the loud ones. But it's kind of like the same way. You don't really want to. I don't want to be one of those people that focuses on that, and then that becomes because I've seen people do that, where they seem to have a good positive message, and then also they focus on these. Some people call it the regressive left, or these extreme left people that are always pissing and moaning about some stuff that doesn't really matter. And then the next thing you know, they're bitching about them, complaining about stuff that does matter. Stuff that genuinely does matter. And I don't want to be one of those people. But at the same time, I get really pissed off when we're tearing each other apart over ignorant shit. And so, let me tell you what just kind of set me off today. And this is why it's funny that I start every video, I believe, by saying, hey, you guys, or you guys, I don't know how to say it. Hey guys, that's it. Hey guys, this is Joe. Yeah, that's how I start like every video. Well, anyway, I made a post in a group last night, a group that happens to be, mostly liberals, like-minded people, good people. And the post was about, I was up late. I have insomnia, with everything I'm going through right now, with the the depression, anxiety, and OCD, and all this has been rough, and I'm not sleeping. And my mind was just wondering, and I put this question out there. I was like, hey guys, I'm up late, and I was just randomly thinking about this argument that a lot of bigots use against gay people, where you'll hear a lot of times they say the reason, it's not natural. And of course, you can point out very easy, you can kind of take that argument down very quickly by pointing out how many animals, have gay relationships, and it's been observed and proven. And so that kind of defeats that argument. But what my question is why do we even need to point to the animals? The very fact that a certain percentage of human beings are gay is proof in and of itself that being gay is natural. Because for whatever reason we seem to, and the question was, why do we seem to exclude ourselves from nature as if we're not a part of nature, when in reality, we're just as big a part of nature as any other thing. Now, and that isn't even, the whole natural thing really isn't even a good argument for or against being gay, because, just because something's natural doesn't make it good, doesn't make it moral, ethical, anything. I mean, you could say rape is natural, it happens in nature. That doesn't make it good. So it's kind of a stupid argument anyway, but my main point was, why do we exclude ourselves from nature? Anyway, none of that really matters, because none of that is really relevant. Now, in this post, a lot of, there was several comments. A lot of people liked it, and several people commented. Now, amongst those people, there were varying genders there. And I'm not sure, and I don't want to suppose, but, I think maybe even one that identifies as non-binary. And I don't understand all the genders, I don't, but I feel very convinced that your sexuality and gender is on a spectrum. And I'm not a doctor, and I'm not a scientist, and I'm nowhere near smart enough to know that, but just the fact of knowing people from being straight to being gay, people bi in the middle, people who, it just seems to make sense to me that it's a spectrum. And then as far as gender would go, really the fact that people can be born intersex, that is a documented fact that we know. Like, to me, that's all you need to know that gender could easily be on a spectrum as well. Like, if you can be born with male and female genitalia, then it would be completely possible to be born with all male genitalia, yet whatever inside identify as to me it just makes sense. And again, that's not the argument. That's not what I'm going to talk about. Because what happened is one person decided that they were going to pick me apart over how I phrased the question. Because I started my post with, "Hey guys," and then I said, "I just want to get you, let's see, how was I said it? I just wonder what you guys thought about this." And so this one person said, "Are you open to anyone's opinion, or is it just the guys?" To which I immediately you're kind of like, oh, it's one of those, like, fuck off. Like, I mean, really, are you nitpicking? And I thought, okay, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is one of those things that I've just always thought that people agreed on, that, if you say guy, if you were to say just guy, that's male. But if you say guys, like, hey guys, hey you guys, like, I felt like that was universally acceptable to mean any gender. Like, it's just a group of people. And I actually looked it up, and that's exactly what it means. It's right there in black and white. But this person wanted to pick me apart about it. But before I looked up the definition, I was like, well, I've always, I told this person I've always thought of that as meaning anybody. I could be wrong. I was like, what would you prefer me use? I was like, because it seems like when I say y'all, hey y'all, I oftentimes get criticized for my hillbilly talk. And so there were a few people commented in that little sub-thread. And even one person, I think it was a female, that said, hey, yeah, I've always assumed it to be anybody as well. Like, if it's singular, you're talking male. If it's plural, could be anybody. That wasn't good enough, so they come back and basically told me they'd prefer that they just it unnerved them to see something. Basically the way I worded it just made them bristle. It upset them, I guess. And I showed them the definition that I was just telling you about how, like, it literally says it can be used for all genders. And their reply was, not a good argument, friend. To which I replied, yeah, being snarky when you know somebody doesn't have bad intentions isn't a good argument either. And I was like, but I get it. Like, you want to set me straight, you know, but I find this all a bit ridiculous. Something to that effect was my comment, and then they were like, well, I've made my point, good night. It pisses me off because, you know, I can understand, like, if someone is, you know, openly trying to misgender somebody, refuses to use your pronouns that you prefer, you know, any of those things, like, that I would never, ever do. That might have been past me, but I would never do. But to pick apart somebody because they said you guys is ridiculous. Like, there has to be a line somewhere. And it's like, this person, we probably agree on almost, you know, most of the fundamental issues, but it's like you would rather fight with me over this. While meanwhile, there's a whole conversation going on with all these other people, different genders. They don't have a problem with it, but that's the fight you want to pick. You know, it's just so frustrating and aggravating, and you're literally tearing us apart from within. And trust me, I don't want to be one of those fucking idiots like a Dave Rubin or, you know, some others I could mention, I'm not going to, that slowly go from talking about, you know, trying to be a help to the community to just bashing left-wing people all the time. But we do have to admit there's a fucking problem. We do have to admit that some people are fucking idiots. And I, you know, and I want to talk about, I've been wanting to talk about it for a long time, and I literally haven't, for the fear of, you know, I don't want to do harm. Like, I don't want to give ammo to the people that are, say, anti-gay, anti-trans. That is the last thing I want to do. And I would want to talk about these things in a way to make sure that I would never suggest anything like that, because that's wrong, and that's what frustrates me. I'm literally, like, I was shaking, and it wasn't so much I was pissed off as I was frustrated, because it's like, you're trying to label me as some sexist, transphobic, or, you know, whatever kind of asshole, and that's not me. And if there was a reason, if there was a good reason, then I'm the kind of person I hope that I can always be when you point something out like, hey Joe, that might not be the best word to use, that I would look at it and say, oh, you're right. And even though it might be a little embarrassing, admit that I'm wrong and change. And if I was doing something to hurt people, I would do that. But given that this is literally, the definition of this word is literally means any gender, is right there. Given that I've said it a billion times and nobody has a problem with it, like nobody, you know what, if I start getting a lot of, like, you know, maybe if I had more people tell me this was a problem, I may actually try to stop. But given the fact that the word I used, if you look at the definition, literally says all genders. And if you can't accept that definition, then to me, you're nitpicking. You know, this is you trying to, virtue signaling, make yourself look good. Let's see, you know, look how virtuous I am and who I can tear down. You know, meanwhile, there's real issues here that we could be fighting against together. But you want to just fucking rip me apart because I said, hey guys, or what do you guys think? I'm sure, well, I know for a fact, there are gay people that watch my videos. There are trans people that watch my videos. They have commented, they have messaged me. Not one of them has ever said anything about, oh, I wish you wouldn't open your videos by saying, hey guys. You know, I mean, and the weird thing is, I really don't even know what to say. I mean, I could say, hey y'all, hey you all. It just doesn't really have the same ring to me. I mean, if it come down to it, if I was really hurting people, and I really, you know, I felt like that was a thing, and enough people told me, I would change. I would do that. I would say, hey you all, hey y'all, whatever. I mean, I am a hillbilly. I say y'all all the time, so I can start my videos with hey y'all. It's just, sometimes when you're labeled, you know, I talk hillbilly enough, so there's no need me making it worse, if that makes sense. You know, sometimes I try to dial the hillbilly back just a little bit. I know you probably can't tell it, but anyway, it's just, if that's what we're going to fight about, I'm just really ticked off and frustrated that this is the argument you want to have when I mean, look at our leadership right now. Look what's going on. Look, you know, in our country and around the world. Man, it's like these right-wing motherfuckers are, I don't know if they're in their death throes and this is their final gasp or what, or if we're in serious danger of them taking over and us being on the verge of theocracies in some of these countries that, you know, have otherwise been free of that to this point. But that is a serious concern. That is a concern for me right here in America. By God, if you don't think that a huge number of people would push this country in the direction of a theocracy, then, you know, you're not paying attention. And we need to be focused on that and fighting against that. And that's not me saying that all these other little issues don't matter. That's not me saying if somebody in our ranks is transphobic or a bigot of any kind that we shouldn't point that out and call them out. Exactly. But when you're just looking for fault, and again, like I said, I hate to use this term because it's usually used by right-wing bigots, but it is true to the point. There are people that's just offended over every fucking thing. And it's the truth. And I realize that most people that say what I just said usually are fucking bigoted assholes. And that's why I hate fucking saying it. And I realize that most of the left, most of the liberals they're not like that. Most of them, if you sit down and talk with them, they're not. So, you know, in a way it's my fault for letting that one, you know, get under my skin that bad. But the voice of a few can really, I mean, they're constantly giving ammo to the right, you know, to these right-wing bigots, you know, constantly. And so like, at what point do we have to stand up and be like, yeah, they're not, I mean, they're kind of with us, but they're like the crazy uncle, you know. We all know they're crazy. That's all I'm saying. That's enough of that. But I guess while I'm here, I did have one thing I wanted to talk about. I am thinking about doing some videos coming up. Because when I first made this channel, my goal was to be able to talk about anything and everything, and to be able to talk about, you know, any subject, no matter how tough it was to really talk about, no matter how much I really kind of don't like discussing it. And I feel like I've done that to a great extent, but I feel like there's still some things that maybe I haven't dove into, and some of that is because of, like, you know, the issues I just talked about, like having a problem with, you know, I never want to mistakenly and accidentally, like, give ammo to to the opponents, if that makes sense. So, but and also I don't want to be I don't know about you guys, but I get really frustrated at the people that are constantly, and I know it's true, most of us aren't completely left or completely right, and maybe we are we have some views that stray towards the middle, right? That's probably the majority of people. But a lot of times we won't admit that, because to do so is to give ground to the other side. So these people on the right, they'll just grasp onto everything on the right, and they won't admit they're wrong, no matter how crazy it is, because they're not going to give ground to us snowflake liberals. Meanwhile, us liberals on the left, we might see some crazy shit going on over here. That's right. This is my left. On the left, but we don't want to admit to that, because we don't want to give ground to the right wing idiots. Both sides thinks that the other side is trying to destroy the country, literally. I mean, we do. Both sides believe that 100%. If you think the other side doesn't believe that about you, trust me, they do. I've been on both sides, and so you don't want to give any ground, but I think sometimes what that causes is it causes us to not have real conversations. We are not having real conversations about issues. And I think like gun control, I know I talked some about it a while back, but I do want to revisit it a little, with a more clear head, and maybe talk about that in the future, because I live in Virginia and this shit is crazy right now. And my views on it, like I see some things that the left is doing as far as gun control that I honestly don't agree with, and a lot of it I do agree with. The right, on the other hand, it is just basically, if it has the word gun control at all, they're against it. They don't care how much sense it makes. Like any law, no matter what, like literally, they think a waiting period to buy a handgun is, attacks their constitutional right. Like, I mean, and that, to me, that's the most common sense, basic, I think there should be a waiting list for any gun. For the very pure and simple reason that you could, and it's not going, and understand that law, and I don't know why I'm getting sidetracked into this, but that law, it's not like that law is going to solve our problems, but what it could solve is a few deaths. It could solve the person who doesn't have a gun, gets pissed off in the moment and is ready to kill someone, and they can't buy a gun like right that second. They gotta wait. Make them wait a month. I think it should be 30 days for any gun. Like if you want a gun, if you're like me and you want a gun, you can wait 30 days. Like, it's not that big a deal. If you're wanting to kill somebody immediately, maybe if you have to wait 30 days, you'll have time to simmer down and be, smarter about it. But anyway, that's something to talk about in the future. I think abortion, I think, is a topic that I've really stayed away from, probably because my views on it are, it's not a real comfortable thing for me to talk about, because I've been on both sides of the argument, and I kind of understand both sides of the argument, and I see people arguing about it, and what frustrates me isn't really the arguments, it's it's some of the terms used, it's some of the dismissal of other people's feelings or thoughts on it. And so maybe that's something I'll discuss. But anyway, I wanted to make some videos where I dived into some subjects and just gave my frank thoughts. It ain't like it would be me preaching like this is how it should be. It would just be me saying this is my take on this particular thing. And I may be right, I may be wrong. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say earlier. I got completely sidetracked, and I don't think I finished this. But another reason why I was hesitant to do these kind of videos is I get so annoyed at those people that won't pick a side. Like they just want to be right. So in order to be right, they hate both political parties, and like they'll they will down the Democrats, and then if you say anything back, it's like, oh, I hate the Republicans just as much. And a lot of times, I mean, if you truly do, then I guess that's fine. But a lot of these people, like say, you may know they're hardcore right wing, hardcore Republican through and through, but they'll pretend like, I know I'm in the middle, because they don't want to pick a side. They don't want to get stopped. They don't want to be held responsible for what those lunatics on their side say. And, or it's just a matter of, it's almost like they're the baby bear's porridge, Everybody else is too far right, too far left, and I'm just right, and I don't want to come off like that at all. I'm sure there's a million things I'm wrong about right now, and the key, if he's right about everything, then trying to learn new things might not be that interesting if he's already right about everything. So, I look forward to, in the future, maybe having discussions and even opening up my own thoughts on things, and maybe I change my mind on things. I'm open to any of that. I've talked about, as an atheist, I'm open to believing in God. All I need is evidence. That's all I need. It's not like I'm, I got some agenda, against God. It's just, hey, I'm going to believe whatever the evidence points me to. I'll tell you what, I got really sidetracked here. I literally was sitting in my living room, and those comments just popped up, and I was like, damn it to hell, I'm going to go in there and talk about it for a second. I do have another video I'm going to try to record tomorrow, hopefully. I can't make any promises. Maybe it'll be up tomorrow night. I don't know. But I'm going to talk about, I'm going to talk about the NFL. But you'll see that. It'll be a short video. But anyway, that's all for now. I'm going to get off here, guys, and try to be in a better mood. I'm going there and hold my baby, kiss my wife, and have some chicken and dumplings. My wife's making chicken dumplings. Hell yeah. So, y'all have a good day. And I'm sorry for getting on here and ranting and raving. But I feel better now. I feel a whole lot better now. Like, my stress levels kind of going down quite a bit. My heart's not beating in my head right now. So, maybe this was the therapy I needed. Anyway, getting off here. Talk to you guys later. You guys. I'll talk to you all later, okay?